slap it 52 times. 2.5 years ago, my wife and I sat in a boardroom with a few members of Plymouth Congregational Church. That day, they began to share with her and I what they wanted to turn over into our care. There was income property that had been paid off for the past 15 years, bank accounts, and a newly remodeled church campus. The pastor told me, he said, because of the way we were going, we were literally dying, I set it up so that if everyone leaves, your salary will still stay the same. And it's quite surreal to think that in a matter of moments, everything that you've put energy into, all the dreams and dare I even say wishes, were about to just come to pass in a moment's time, just like that. It's an amazing feeling to think that the stresses that you've been carrying for so long, the burdens that you've been carrying, all of that was just going to go away. Someone asked me what I thought or what I was thinking that day, and I thought, man, I hope my wife doesn't start speaking in tongues, because that'll just kill the deal. They don't have that revelation yet. But it was pretty amazing. I'm pretty sure I heard a shout beat in my head, but I just kept it to myself. So what is it? We all share some common goals, being ministers and in ministry. What is the secret to success or climbing the ladder? What does that mean? If there was some formula, if there was maybe perhaps some equation that we could plug into, what would that look like? What would it taste like? What would it feel like? So I know for me, it comes down to one word, and I know that you know it. We talk about it often. But for me, it was really real, this word called perseverance. Perseverance is the will to, of course, continue when everything inside you, everything around you is just screaming, just stop, hang it up, do something different. Perseverance is that line in the sand that has been drawn and says, just stay on this side of it. But something inside you is telling you, just go a little further and endure a little more pain and hardship, because you believe that something greater is around the corner. Really, perseverance is about holding on to the right message during key moments in life. That's what perseverance is. And we appreciate moments. Every single one of us, we try to capture moments. Men have, and for at least 1,500 years, have been exploring and experimenting with capturing moments. We've invented devices that allow us to capture these special moments in our lives. For 1,500 years, do I start over? Oh, okay. Thank you. For 1,500 years, men understood that if you blackened out a room and you created an aperture in some of the wall, or some pinhole, where a light could filter through, that an image would be projected, and you would have a camera obscura. Obscura because the picture would be turned upside down. It would be faded. It would be fuzzy. You couldn't see it clearly. You knew something was there, but you didn't know exactly what. Now, fast forwarding to today, we have the ability to capture moments in 1/300th of a second. We can capture moments, and of course with extreme clarity. I was on Facebook earlier and I saw some of your Saturday selfies, so I know that you're putting the camera to good use. We're capturing moments. And so I'd like to share a snapshot of my family and I. That's my siblings and I. No, that's probably what my parents thought that they were raising. But here's a snapshot of a young boy, and I know what you're thinking. What happened to that cute young boy? A whole lot of life. But although I can look at that picture and I can see a young boy and I can recall and remember and reminisce, there's also a future young boy in that picture. There was a future young boy with goals and dreams and wishes and desires to be an archaeologist. All of that was there. So a snapshot, a moment in time is not just about the present and not something that we can just reflect on. It also can capture the future. So I would like to share a story with you that I've probably told maybe 7, maybe 10 people in my life. It was a snapshot, a moment in time that I held on to very dearly, and it would allow me to climb this ladder that we're all trying to climb. I was 13 years old. I was living in Dinuba, California. Probably no one knows where that is at, and you're welcome. It's not a place that you take the family to, unless you were trying to end something of some sort. But I was living in Dinuba, California, and the pastor got up and he said, all those who are able to go on a 3-day fast, we're going to go on a fast, we're going to pray. Brother Keith Clark is coming into town. And like any 13-year-old that grew up in church, I was also praying through. If Brother Clark was going to read anyone's mail, it wasn't going to be mine. It was going to be someone else's. But it was in that moment that I was praying in a room, and an angel came, and he grabbed me, and we went a little this way. We flew over what looked like a city, and I ended what looked like a church. And all that I could remember, the words spoken that day were, I love you. I'm going to give you this one day. And for the next 20 years of my life, I held on to that snapshot. When I was suffering through depression for an inexplicable reason, it was that snapshot that I held on to. When I felt like ministry had let me down and good people were let me down, it helped me. It carried me through. That God was going to do something for me. I didn't know what. I didn't know what it was going to be, what it was going to look like, but that He was going to do something. I remember trying my very best, just trying to open up doors, going to grad school, just trying to better my life. And one of the odd things I did was I took a job taking care of plants for very wealthy people, hotels and office spaces. And I would walk through the office spaces, and I would have my garden hose and my pot, and I would be looked at, and the words that were spoken to me and just kind of cast off to the side. And there were so many times that I would want to act out in anger. And it would drive me as a young man to be successful, to tell someone or show everyone else what you have inside of you. But it was that snapshot that God was going to do something for me, not because I was talented, not because I had some gift to give Him, but because He loved me and allowed me to climb the ladder the right way. And so the next day after that Plymouth meeting, I walked into the church, and immediately being caught up into that vision one more time, and with clear focus, the 20 years of pain and depression and anger and bitterness that I had worked out of my life, God allowed it to come in clear focus. It wasn't an obscure picture. That picture, in a moment's time, turned right side up. So I understood that God had given me the grace and the mercy to persevere. And the real success wasn't what I was given. It was what I had gave. That I gave my very best. That I tried my all in everything that I did. And so we're still climbing ladders. My family and I are on a new journey. It's very challenging to watch someone you love pass before your eyes and deteriorate. But I remember sitting in a meeting with the oncologist and said, Mr. Gonzales, to my father, you're going to have to decide whether you're going to finish or not. Here's the bell we want you to ring at the end of the chemo and radiation treatment. And we're trying to get you there. Because chemo and radiation takes the life out of everyone. You won't be exempt. You'll think, I've got this. I can handle this. But you can't decide in the middle. You have to decide at the beginning whether you're going to persevere or not. And like a 13-year-old boy weathering the storms of life for the next 20 years, just fading into complete obscurity, that God had given me the grace to continue. So again, the real success of Plymouth congregation is not what I was given, but what I gave to God in the process. That He allowed me to continue when I felt like quitting so much. So real success Real climbing the ladder, that's what it looks like. When you can say, I gave it my all, I laid it all down on the line, and I tried my very best. Thank you.